Part 4. The rise of the God Emperor. The Empire of Frosthaven then attempts to establish diplomatic relations with the Kingdom of Ireland, and thus, they attempt to initiate diplomatic negotiations. The emissary of the Empire of Frosthaven arrives at the Kingdom of Ireland's capital, bearing gifts of furs, ice crystals, and precious metals. He is escorted to the throne room, where King of Ireland awaits him. The room is adorned with tapestries depicting the lush green lands of Ireland and the harsh beauty of the great frozen wastes. A fire crackles in the hearth, casting flickering light on the polished wooden floors. "Your Majesty," the emissary says, bowing low before the king, Emperor Thoric II of the Empire of Frosthaven sends his greetings and wishes to establish diplomatic relations between our two great nations. The King of Ireland raises an eyebrow, intrigued. Indeed, the Empire of Frosthaven is a land of legend to us, a place of unimaginable cold and ice. I must confess, I was not aware that you maintained relations with any other kingdoms besides your own. "Your Majesty," the emissary replies, "while it is true that the Empire of Frosthaven has often been isolated by its harsh climate, we have maintained contact with other kingdoms through trade and diplomacy. We believe that the interests of the Kingdom of Ireland and the Empire of Frosthaven align in many ways, particularly when it comes to ensuring the stability and prosperity of our respective regions." The king listens intently, his expression thoughtful. "You speak wisely. Ireland has long been a land of peace and trade, and we have always sought to foster alliances with nations who share our values. I would be honored to discuss the possibility of an alliance between our kingdoms." The emissary beams with gratitude. "Then allow me to present these gifts from Emperor Thoric II as a symbol of his respect and friendship towards your Majesty and the people of Ireland." He places the gifts on a nearby table. "Our two empires could work together to counter the influence of neighboring powers who seek to expand their territories at our expense." The king nods, his expression serious. "Indeed, we have seen the actions of certain empires in the East with great concern. I believe that a strong alliance between our nations would not only benefit our people, but also serve as a bulwark against those who would threaten the stability of our region. Then let us begin the negotiations," the emissary says, his voice firm with determination. Emperor Thoric II is eager to establish a treaty of friendship and trade between our kingdoms, and I am confident that together we can forge a lasting alliance that will stand the test of time.
The King of Ireland nods in agreement. Indeed, such an alliance would be of great benefit to both our peoples. We must work together to ensure that our interests are protected and that our voices are heard in matters of regional importance. He gestures to one of his advisors, who steps forward to escort the emissary to a private chamber for discussions. As they depart, the emissary can't help but feel a sense of optimism about the potential for this new alliance. The Kingdom of Ireland seems genuinely interested in forging a strong bond with the Empire of Frosthaven, and Emperor Thoric II will surely be pleased to hear of this progress. The negotiations will no doubt be challenging, but with the foundation of mutual respect and shared goals, they are off to a promising start. The emissary enters the private chamber, where he finds the advisor waiting for him. "Your Highness has instructed me to assist you in any way I can during these discussions," the advisor says, bowing his head respectfully. "Please, feel free to express any concerns or proposals you may have." The emissary takes a seat at the elaborately carved table, steeling himself for the negotiations ahead. He begins by outlining Emperor Thoric II's primary objectives: the establishment of a formal trade agreement, mutual defense pact, and the sharing of intelligence regarding regional affairs. The advisor listens carefully, making notes as the emissary speaks. When the emissary finishes, the advisor pauses for a moment, seemingly deep in thought. "Your proposals are most interesting," he says finally. The Kingdom of Ireland is indeed eager to strengthen its ties with Frosthaven and to foster greater cooperation between our two empires. However, there are several points that we must discuss further before coming to any formal agreements. The advisor leans forward, resting his elbows on the table. "Firstly, we must discuss the specifics of the trade agreement. While we appreciate the potential benefits of free trade between our empires, we must also ensure that our respective economies are not adversely affected. We must consider tariffs, quotas, and other trade barriers that may be necessary to protect our industries and workers. The emissary nods thoughtfully. Of course, Your Highness. Emperor Thoric II is willing to work closely with the Kingdom of Ireland to address any concerns you may have. Our aim is not to undermine your economy, but rather to create a mutually beneficial partnership that strengthens both our empires. The advisor seems satisfied with this response and continues. Secondly, regarding the Mutual Defense Pact, we must discuss the specifics of how such an alliance would be implemented. Would Frosthaven be willing to commit military forces to defend Ireland? And would Ireland be expected to do the same in the event of a conflict in the Empire of Frosthaven? The emissary hesitates for a moment, unsure how to respond. This is one of the more delicate issues that must be addressed. Emperor Thoric II is committed to the defense of Ireland and its people, he says carefully. However, our military might is primarily focused on maintaining stability within our own borders. It is not our intention to engage in conflicts beyond our borders. That being said, we would expect Ireland to reciprocate this commitment in times of need. The advisor nods, seeming to consider this response. Your response is most appreciated, he says. These are indeed important matters that we must discuss openly and honestly. I will bring your proposals before the king, and we will begin negotiations in earnest. I am hopeful that we can reach an agreement that benefits both our empires. The emissary expresses his gratitude and begins to make notes on the discussion, anticipating the reactions of Emperor Thoric and his advisors back in Frosthaven. He knows that this is only the beginning of a long and arduous journey, but with the foundation of mutual respect and shared goals between their two empires, he is confident that they can forge a lasting alliance that will stand the test of time. As the days pass, the emissary continues to meet with various advisors and officials within the Kingdom of Ireland. Each meeting provides valuable insights into the kingdom's culture, history, and political landscape. He is particularly fascinated by the kingdom's strong ties to its Celtic heritage, which is evident in its art, music, and architecture. The emissary finds himself drawn to the beauty of the Emerald Isle, from the rolling hills of the countryside to the bustling streets of the capital city. One afternoon, he is invited to attend a grand feast hosted by the king in honor of his visit. Seated at the head of the table, the King of Ireland raises his goblet in a toast to the Empire of Frosthaven. To our new allies across the sea, he proclaims, "May our friendship grow stronger with each passing day, and may our empires prosper together." The emissary stands, joining the king in his toast, as the rest of the guests erupt into cheers and applause. Throughout the evening, the emissary has the opportunity to engage in informal conversations with various members of the court. He learns about the kingdom's complex system of government, which blends elements of both monarchy and parliament, and hears stories of Ireland's past triumphs and tragedies. As he listens to these tales, he begins to understand the deep sense of pride and resilience that defines the Irish people. One of the more intriguing topics of discussion is the role of magic within the kingdom. While it is not as prevalent as it is in Frosthaven, there are rumors of powerful druids who live in secluded groves, studying the ancient arts and maintaining a delicate balance between the natural and supernatural worlds. The emissary finds himself drawn to these mysterious figures, fascinated by the idea of a society where magic and technology coexist in harmony. As the feast comes to an end, the emissary takes a stroll through the palace gardens, admiring the lush greenery and the sound of a distant fountain. He finds himself reflecting on the day's events and the potential for a lasting alliance between their two empires. He knows that there will be challenges ahead, but with the trust and mutual respect that have been established, he is confident that they can overcome any obstacle. As he returns to his chambers for the evening, the emissary can't help but feel a sense of awe and respect for the Kingdom of Ireland, its rich history, vibrant culture, and resilient spirit have left an indelible mark on his heart, and he knows that this journey has forever changed the course of his life. The Empire of Frosthaven and the Kingdom of Ireland may be worlds apart, but tonight they are united by a bond that transcends distance and time. The emissary spends the night reflecting on the negotiations that lie ahead, carefully considering the arguments and counter-arguments he will present to Emperor Thoric II and his advisors. He knows that the future of both empires hangs in the balance, and he takes his responsibility seriously. As he drifts off to sleep, he is comforted by the knowledge that he has done his best to forge a path forward that benefits both empires equally. Over the next several weeks, the emissary continues his discussions with the Irish court, navigating the complex web of politics and diplomacy with skill and grace. He is impressed by the intelligence and resourcefulness of the king and his advisors, and he finds himself growing ever more fond of the Emerald Isle as the days turn into weeks and the negotiations begin to bear fruit. He knows that they are on the cusp of something truly historic. One morning, as he takes a walk along the beach, the emissary is approached by a lone figure dressed in simple robes. The figure introduces himself as a druid, one of the keepers of the ancient ways. He offers to show the emissary a hidden grove, where he can witness the power of magic firsthand. Intrigued and curious, the emissary accepts the invitation, eager to learn more about this mysterious world. As they journey deeper into the forest, the emissary finds himself surrounded by towering trees and the songs of countless birds. The air is thick with the scent of earth and growing things, and he can feel the weight of centuries of history pressing down upon him. The druid leads him to a clearing, where a small circle of standing stones is surrounded by a circle of glowing mushrooms. It is here, he explains, that the druids conduct their most powerful rituals. The emissary takes a tentative step forward, his curiosity overwhelming any lingering doubts or fears. The druid nods approvingly, gesturing for him to sit on a nearby boulder. For several minutes, the only sound is the rustle of leaves and the distant calls of animals. Then, without warning, the druid begins to chant in a language the emissary has never heard before. His voice rises and falls, growing louder and more powerful with each passing moment. As the chanting reaches its peak, the mushrooms around the circle begin to glow brighter, casting an ethereal light upon the scene. The air grows thick with mist, and the emissary feels a strange tingling sensation throughout his body. He looks up to see the druid standing atop one of the standing stones, arms outstretched to the sky, with a final, triumphant cry. The druid hurls a handful of glowing mist towards the heavens. As the mist dissipates, the emissary finds himself gazing up at a vision of breathtaking beauty. The clouds above have taken on the shape of a great dragon, its wings outstretched as if about to take flight. The image flickers and wavers, seeming almost alive, before fading away like smoke in the wind. The druid steps down from the stone, smiling enigmatically at the emissary. "You have seen but a small glimpse of our power," he says. "Magic is not something to be feared or dismissed. It is a part of our world, and it can be a force for good if used wisely." The emissary nods, his mind reeling from the experience. He knows that he has witnessed something truly extraordinary, something that will stay with him for the rest of his life. As they make their way back through the forest, the druid continues to speak of the old ways, of the balance between the worlds of men and magic. The emissary listens intently, his curiosity piqued by the possibilities that such knowledge could unlock. Upon his return to the palace, the emissary finds that the negotiations between the empires have reached a critical juncture. He takes the stage, drawing on the wisdom and power he has witnessed during his time with the druid. His arguments are met with awe and respect, and it becomes clear that his experiences have given him a unique perspective that none of the other emissaries possess. The king, impressed by the emissary's newfound insights, asks him to stay and serve as an advisor during the final stages of the negotiations. Together, they navigate the treacherous waters of politics and magic, striking a delicate balance that pleases both empires. The treaty they forge is one of mutual respect and cooperation, with provisions for the preservation of both human and magical heritage. As the days turn into weeks and months, the emissary finds himself becoming increasingly immersed in the world of magic and its history. He studies ancient texts, learns arcane languages, and practices the rituals of the Druids, slowly earning their trust and respect. He becomes known as a man who straddles the divide between the mundane and the magical, and his counsel is sought by kings and queens alike. The Empire of Frosthaven then attempts to establish diplomatic relations with the Kingdom of Portugal. The emissary is once again chosen for this important mission, as his unique perspective and knowledge of magic make him an invaluable asset. He travels across the vast ocean, navigating treacherous waters and unfamiliar lands before finally reaching the kingdom. The contrast between the lush, green forests of the Emerald Isles and the dry, arid deserts of Portugal is striking, but the emissary finds solace in the fact that magic seems to thrive here as well, albeit in a different form. The King of Portugal, impressed by the emissary's previous achievements, grants him an audience immediately. The emissary takes this opportunity to share his experiences with the Druids and the balance they have struck between magic and humanity. The king listens intently, intrigued by the possibilities of such a harmonious relationship. He invites the emissary to stay and serve as an advisor, helping Portugal navigate the delicate balance between embracing magic and maintaining order. The emissary spends several months in the Desert Kingdom, learning about its unique brand of magic, which revolves around the harnessing of elemental forces. He discovers that the people of Portugal have a deep respect for nature, which they see as a manifestation of the divine magic in their eyes. Is merely a tool to help maintain that divine balance? He teaches them about the old ways of the Druids, and they in turn share their knowledge of elemental magic. Together, they create a new form of magic that harmonizes the two traditions. As news of this union spreads throughout the land, the emissary finds himself hailed as a hero and a visionary. He is granted audiences with queens and emperors from far-flung lands, all of whom are eager to learn from his experiences. He becomes known as the Archmage of the Emerald Isles, a title that carries great weight and responsibility. Emperor Marcus Aurelius then announces that a great war that will determine the future of Europe itself is fast approaching, and that the best course of action is to fully unify the Empire of Sanctity and the Holy Roman Empire together under the Empire of Sanctity to centralize power to prepare for the coming continental war. The people of the Holy Roman Empire, seeing the power of the elemental avatars and the Druids of Brocliant, accept Marcus Aurelius's proposal without hesitation. The two empires are united, and a new flag is raised, the flag of the Empire of Sanctity, bearing the image of an eagle clutching a sacred relic in its talons. Emperor Marcus Aurelius then has a ritual done in the forest of Brocliant too, using all of the artifacts and the sacred relic centrally to attempt to fuse all of the magic, all of the artifacts, the avatar of the waves, the avatar of the wines, and the avatar of the dragonflight, and all of the druids and undead druids, and most crucially, the sacred relic into himself to become a godly being, a god emperor, and thus the attempted ritual is started. As the ritual begins, the forest is engulfed in a cacophony of elemental energies, as the four elemental avatars are drawn toward the center of the forest, their power becoming increasingly unstable. The druids, bound by their oaths to Marcus Aurelius, chant ancient incantations, funneling their magic into the emperor himself. The undead druids, their eyes glowing with an unholy light, dance around a massive obsidian altar, their skeletal hands clutching ancient artifacts. The air crackles with energy, and a blinding light fills the sky as the ritual reaches its climax. Marcus Aurelius's body begins to glow with a divine aura, and his form appears to shift, becoming larger, more imposing. The elemental avatars, their power now unified within the Emperor, fuse with him, becoming part of his very essence. The druids and the undead druids, their minds linked by the relic, become an extension of his will, and then, suddenly, he is physically his normal self, but with a truly divine and omnipotent aura surrounding him. He is now the God Emperor of the Empire of Sanctity, the first and only mortal to ever ascend to such a position. His reign is eternal, his power unrivaled. The elemental avatars, the druids, and the undead druids serve him as his loyal subjects, their minds and bodies linked to his through the sacred relic. The Empire of Frosthaven then seeks to form diplomatic alliances with as many kingdoms and empires as possible. As quickly as possible, the emissary, now known as the Archmage of the Emerald Isles, is once again chosen to lead these negotiations. He travels far and wide, visiting kingdoms of every shape and size, each with its own unique culture and tradition of magic. He brings with him the knowledge he has gained from the Druids, the Elementalists of Portugal, and other learned scholars and sages from across the world. In each new land, the Archmage takes great care to understand the local customs and beliefs, for it is only through respect and empathy that true understanding can be achieved. He speaks to kings and queens, priests and wizards, commoners and nobles alike, listening to their stories and sharing his own. He tells of the balance he has seen maintained between magic and humanity in the lands of the Druids, and of the harmony he has witnessed between elemental and natural magic in the desert kingdom of Portugal. He travels to a land where magic is seen as a gift from the gods, and where wizards are treated as near deities themselves. The Archmage cautions against such hubris, reminding them that magic is a powerful tool that must be wielded with care and wisdom. He shows them the destruction that can be wrought when magic is used selfishly or recklessly, and how the balance between magic and humanity can be maintained to prevent such catastrophes. He visits a land where magic is feared and suppressed, where wizards are hunted down as heretics and burned at the stake. The Archmage tells them of the wisdom and knowledge that can be gained through the study of magic, and how it can be used to improve the lives of all people. He urges them to find a way to coexist with magic, to learn to control their fear and embrace the possibilities that it offers. The Empire of Frosthaven uses a ritual to summon the Frost Titan, a colossus of ice and frost whose mere presence can freeze entire landscapes and command the frigid elements to do its bidding, towering over the tallest mountains. The Frost Titan embodies the raw power of winter's wrath and serves as a symbol of the Empire of Frosthaven's resilience and determination. The Storm Leviathan, a behemoth of thunder and lightning that roams the skies with unparalleled ferocity. With its electrifying presence, the Storm Leviathan can summon tempests of unparalleled intensity and unleash devastating bolts of lightning upon its foes, posing a formidable threat to any who dare challenge its dominion. The Earth Colossus, a titan of stone and earth whose unyielding strength can shatter mountains and reshape the very landscape itself, as the embodiment of the Earth's enduring power. The Earth Colossus will stand as a stalwart defender of the Empire of Frosthaven, anchoring our realm to the bedrock of stability and fortitude. And the Inferno Phoenix, a celestial being of fire and flame whose incandescent presence can engulf entire armies in its fiery embrace. Born from the heart of the hottest infernos, the Inferno Phoenix embodies the relentless fury of the flames and serves as a beacon of defiance against the encroaching darkness, all just to hopefully stand a chance against the God Emperor of the Empire of Sanctity, God Emperor Marcus Aurelius, as futile a hope as that truly is.